Why, hello there, my fine feathered friends. How are you? How are things on the internet? I'm Jake Johnson, and this is Untethered Live, and you're watching us on a Wednesday night. Come on in, take your shoes off, get comfortable, rub your toes in the carpet, and make little fists with your toes, and then, get your building blown up. I saw it in a movie. I don't know what I'm talking about. How are things? It's raining here. The old foot is throbbing like a toothache. And the weatherman said, bright and sunny. He's wrong. It is currently raining. Hey, Kev Cox, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. I see you there in the chat. Hiding behind that stream element. Where's everybody at tonight? There's April. Hello, love. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. This cup's for you. What a beautiful day it was until it started raining. But it's night, so you really can't see it. So, beautiful day. Got it. I'm still working on the Rumble thing. Looking good? Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate it. You look good, too. I can tell. I can see you right through the camera. I'm looking at you right now. Turn around. There's somebody behind you. Still working on the Rumble thing, as I was saying. Can't seem to get the chat to work. I think Friday I'm going to try to go live on Rumble, and I'm going to use my laptop instead of my rig and just see if there's a difference between Windows and Mac, if that's something that's causing the chat not to work. And if it still don't work, I don't know what to do about it. They're going to have to figure out a way to fix it. I cannot do live streams if I can't talk to my peoples. I got to know what you're saying. So, we're working on it. It's coming together. I am in contact with them, though, and we are talking about it. So, I don't know how long it'll take them to get it right, but we'll see. They got more money than I have, so they should be able to fix it. What say you? What do you think? Did any of you get a chance to go over to Caucasian Sasquatch's channel last night and catch our live stream? I was a guest over there last night. Had quite an interesting conversation. For quite some time, what seemed like a 4-hour live stream. I don't know how long we went, but it felt like 4 hours. And he does the after dark thing, so, even on after the show. I know if you don't know. Huh? What do you know? What do you know that I don't know? I've been looking for that answer my whole life. What do you know that I don't know? MVTV, what's up, buddy? I was just decrying the vast amount of things I could do if shit would just perform its intended functions. Huff, huff, I hear you, brother. Good evening, by the way. Yo, April. I hear you, MVTV. If things would just work the way they're advertised, there's no limit to what we could do. But things rarely work as advertised. How Rumble is an issue with trying to message. Have you had that problem with other... you don't use Rumble, so no, I guess that's the answer to that's no. So, yeah, it's just a thing. They got to fix it at some point, I can only complain so much, and they got to get to it. I don't know how far down the list I am on things they got to work on, but when they fix it, I'll be able to live stream over there. It's looking good, though. I mean, they've done a lot with it since the last time I visited it. And seems to be that the page with the videos on it and all that seems to be looking better and sharper. And the function buttons like the follow and the like and all that seem to be in view. And and easy to get to and easy to understand. First time I visited Rumble, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I had no idea what was going on or what anything did, so they've done some work. Phone keypads repeat each damn number times 3. Delete, delete, try again. Rinse, repeat constantly with electronics. Just do it. Criminy. Excuse my French. Big pet peeve. I hear you. Well, they got this new thing they invented just for that called a smartphone. And it ain't that smart, but it does type better. Yes, and I had the same issue. Okay, so you have went to someone else on Rumble, and the same issue happened there. Okay. Well, go back to that person and tell them to complain to Rumble, because Rumble told me that I was the only person that seemed to be complaining about it. They say, we haven't been getting reports of this issue anywhere else. I'm like, well, I can't help that, you know. Don't get me started on touch screens. I hear you. I want my Apple phone back. Yeah. I ain't crazy about Apple products. I like the old stuff, like my Mac. This beautiful machine I got beside me here, this device that could power the world, I think. Is 20 years old and operates probably better than anything on the market right now. Other than, you know, if I were to spend $50,000, I could buy a machine that could do better. But you're not going to buy that in any store, anywhere on planet Earth. But that being said, the new lineup of Macs, including the Mac Pro that just came out and the Mac Studio that just came out, don't hold a candle to this machine, which is 20 years old. They're not even close, not even comparable. The only thing they got going for them is the new Thread technology in their processors. It's a little faster. That's it. The memory, not even close. The storage capacity, not even in the same sport, let alone the same ballpark. You know, so I don't know what the hell they're doing at Apple, but they're going backwards. Big time. They have a machine that's comparable to this one. And at spec, which is the standard that you get without any of the bells and whistles. This is the basic thing that they offer, $54,000. And it's comparable to this machine. I paid less than $2,000 for this one. 20 years on, you know. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm not real happy with Apple. And yes, says MVTV, I have a cheap flip phone, but I refuse to get a smartphone. I'd get sucked in. You might. That's a fact. It is a virus. I've managed to not get sucked in, but I'm one of those few rare people that will put my phone down and have a conversation with somebody, you know. Or when I go to eat at somebody's house, I leave it in my jacket pocket. I don't pull it out and look at it. But I'm very rare. Most people have it in their face the whole time, you know. And I think it's a benefit for me not having grown up with one. I lived in a world prior to these things. So I, you know, appreciate the value of making eye contact. Or having something to say. Fab Daddy, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I'm sucked in, but I'm alone a lot. Yes, that happens when you get sucked into a smartphone. Go back and watch Soylent Green from the 60s and see what they predicted. The movie Soylent Green. Check it out. They predicted this very thing. It was a little different. It was a box, but it was delivering media to your head. Man, they just spent their whole life with their head in the box. I'm listening, but also eating, says Kevin. What are you eating? I had Pizza Hut tonight. MBTV says it's a flaw of marketing. The companies must keep innovating, selling new things, so constant upgrades. New operating systems over perfectly good ones. That's true. That's very true. And if you don't have the latest thing, the old stuff don't work anymore, you know. Well, go figure. That's the way it is. MBTV says Apple's a good example. I could do a great desktop publishing with a simple ClarisWorks in 1994. Now the programs are so GD complex, it's hard to figure out the simplest things. Yeah, I use Final Cut Pro, and I'm telling you, it has changed over the years to the detriment of it. It used to be user-friendly, and everything was right where everything was. Now it's all subscription-based, and you got to go through tons of menus to find things. It's all sparsed out all over the place. It's not fun to use anymore. Hi, Kevin and April, says Fab Daddy. And, of course, Jake. Fab Daddy, how are you? Good to see you. MVTB says, if I could cut out the unwanted, unneeded crap from everything, work would be supersonic. You're preaching to the choir, man. Kevin says, I'm having hibachi grill, combo scallops and shrimp. You are certainly going to suffer from gout. But I bet it's delicious. I personally do not eat shellfish of any kind. It's not a religious thing. It's a I don't want to die thing. As it should be, says April. I'll tell you what, though. In this world of confusing narratives and bouncing ideas and randomness, there are few little glimmers of hope that peek out every now and then, make you think, hey, maybe it ain't all bad. Maybe there is some good left in the world. For example, Tucker Carlson just came back out on Twitter yesterday. He launched his new show. First video is 10 minutes long. Got over 90 million views since yesterday. That's better than Super Bowl numbers. All the media today is talking about how sad Tucker's new show is and how he's nothing without Fox or Chyrons. Have you looked at your ratings? Because I think he blew you out of the water with a Twitter feed. You go, Tucker. I'm with you, buddy. So, if you want to get your fix on Tucker Carlson, go join Twitter. And while you're over there, subscribe to Untethered Live at Twitter, and we'll tweet. Whatever that means. MBTV says, boy, you hit a nerve with that glitch talk. I encountered the biggest porcupine in my life last night. Went back and found a quill and wasted 45 minutes with a corrupt file. I guess before before posting still. Okay, I'm done. Good for Tucker. Yeah. Sepson, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Tucker's doing well outside of Fox. I think he is. I think he blew him away, and his first video is only 10 minutes long, and he did more views than Fox probably did all day. Yeah, I'm proud of him. Fab Daddy says, I didn't watch him before. Don't plan on doing it now. Well, you can't please everybody. That's how it is. Matt Wash's What is a Woman made a big splash, too. Yes, it did. And they tried to censor him while Elon Musk was out of the country. The feed that I get on that, or the read that I get on that, is that while he was away, he's been touting how he's bringing Twitter back to being a free speech platform, and if it's not illegal, you have a right to say it, and all that good stuff. He's adamant about it. Well, while he was in China, the head of whoever over there at Twitter decided they were going to strike out this video that they had a contract to play. They had already signed a contract with Twitter to release this video for 24 hours for free. And so they went back on the contract and told him that it was hate speech because somebody in the video, which is what the video is about, used the wrong pronoun once or twice. And it's a documentary. That's going to happen. If you're asking questions and people are answering you, you're going to get more than one answer, right? So when Elon found out about it, the lady who was involved resigned. I think she got fired. And not only did Elon promote it, but he pinned it to his own Twitter feed, which everybody on Twitter follows Elon. So everybody has seen that video now. So it's doing fantastic. Good for the Daily Wire and Matt Walsh. The Musk recommends it. Nice move. Resistance is not futile. Amen. April says, hi, Seps in Love. Yep, those two things, Tucker returning and what is a woman doing well on Twitter, is a glimmer of hope. It's a glimmer that more than one voice will be heard. And that's the thing that, I promote. I don't particularly pick sides for the most part. There are things I feel strongly about. There is a direction that I lean politically. Sometimes. I do lean the other way occasionally, but not far because they're crazy over there. But I don't like less discourse. The answer to bad speech is more speech. The answer to bad ideas is more ideas, not the opposite. So it's a good thing to see that happening. You don't have to agree with me. I've got plenty of friends that disagree with me. Fab Daddy's one of them. That shouldn't be a divider. That shouldn't be a line or a hill to die on. We disagree. Let's talk about other things. Or wait your turn and I'll talk about something you do agree with, I don't understand why it's got to be life or death. Why everybody is so up in arms about every idea. The world has always been a dichotomy. It always will be. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no sense in being upset about it. I like you because you were different. Thank you, sir. I am different. I'm weird, but I'm different. Little, yellow, different. First rattlesnake of season, says MVTV yesterday. 5-footer. Zero clue until almost stepping on it, even though I was deliberately watching for him. Jumped about 5 feet. Ooh, the snake or you? One of you jumped. If I stepped on a rattlesnake, I believe I'd be like one of those cartoons where my body would go that way and my skeleton would stay still. Boy, I stepped on something. I don't know what it is. I woke up yesterday. Now, first thing you have to understand is I have issues. Okay. So last week, my wrist was sore. Like I'd hurt it. I couldn't put any pressure on my hand at all. And then it lasted for 2 days, and then it went away. The next day, I woke up and I couldn't walk. My foot went out. Same pain, but in my foot. I thought that would last for a couple days and go away. So I went on to work. I did my thing. I woke up this morning. It was 10 times worse. I couldn't even stand up. I had to go to work today with a cane. First time ever. And I managed to get through the day and get home and get off my damn foot. I don't know what I did to it or what I did to my wrist or if it's just going to jump around, I don't know what the problem is. Something ain't right. Right on, says April. Actually, beyond the hype, it proves they really are non-aggressive. Have it on body cam, but Snake has too good camo to see. I hear you. I I don't think rattlesnakes are aggressive. I think they're protective. I think that's what it is. That's the whole point in the rattle, to warn you away. An asp is aggressive. An asp will come after you. A rattlesnake will attack you if you don't move. But if you move, it'll leave you alone. I agree with you. Although I haven't seen a rattlesnake in many moons. There are not many of them around here. We have water moccasins here. I need to shave. I'm starting to get that hobo look. Can you say hobo anymore? I might get canceled just by not shaving. I hate to shave. Anybody with me, guys? MBTV says, classic signs of a nerve entrapment. Something ain't right. Lower spine nerve cluster. Kind of common. If anything touches the nerves, it can do that. But me no doctor. Just play one on YouTube. And copperhead, says Fab Daddy. We probably have some copperheads, but I hadn't seen any. Or are you saying copperheads are aggressive? I don't know which comment you're responding to. But yes, copperheads. Eesh. Yeah, it acts like a nerve. It acts like a tendon thing, actually. It acts like my tendon is stressed. But that's the kind of pain it is, sharp like a nail, and it kind of burns. You know what I mean? The pain is so intense that it kind of burns. But I didn't do anything to it. I didn't twist it. I didn't step hard or anything. It just went out. I just woke up that way. It's weird. I saw a copperhead in North Carolina. Gotcha. Yeah, they're probably around here, especially towards the mountains and stuff. Almost stepped on him. MVTV says, copperheads caused nightmares for me growing up in the Midwest. Heard a story of a guy falling into a nest of them, but never saw one myself. Yeah. There was a story going around when I was a kid about a guy who was logging in Georgia, where I'm from. And he went into an old outhouse out there to, do his business. And while he was sitting on the toilet, a black-widow spider crawled up and bit him on the gonads. And then he recognized what had happened, and he put his pants back on and went and got in his car and started driving towards the hospital, and he died at the red light, waiting to pull into the hospital. That story, I remember that from childhood, and it always terrified me. Because there's lots of black widow spiders from where I'm from. And there's a lot of them here, too, by the way. But I've never been bit by one. But I know I used to be scared of them. MVTV says, I have a similar vertebrae shift, or one settles with age and gravity. Other bones may not be spine at all, but if nerves are pinched or something, it causes those multiple symptoms. Yeah, well, number one, about a year ago, I did a face plant off my motorcycle at about 30 miles an hour into the dirt and had severe whiplash for a while. I mean, I had to learn how to use my fingers again. It was that kind of serious. So that was about a year ago. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. I don't remember exactly, but it took me a full month to recover. And also, I was born with spinal scoliosis, so I have nerve damage anyway due to an operation I had when I was a kid. And so, yeah, that's bound to be the issue, I would imagine. Whoa, that's sad, says April. OMG. April says, yeah, I remember that. Me too. Quite well. So I'm sure that's what's causing it, but, what can you do? That's right, says April. Ouch. Well, it wasn't fun. I just left band practice. It was about I don't know, 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And it was raining, kind of like real light rain. It had just finished raining, maybe. The roads were wet, but it wasn't pouring at that moment. And a deer ran out in front of me on a black road with no markers, and I swerved to miss it. But what I didn't realize is I was in a curve at that moment. So when I swerved to miss it, my bike went off the road into the grass. And when it hit that wet grass, it just come right out from under me and took me right into the ditch. There was nothing I could do about it. And the bike went down in the ditch, and I went over the handlebars and face planted right on the ground like a whip. Whoop-pow! Like an Acme cartoon. Whoop-pow! That was it. I thought I was dead. Then I come to my senses, shook my head, and I was like, oh no, I can't feel my legs. I think I've broken my neck. And I kept trying to wiggle, and I couldn't wiggle. It scared me. Then I finally kind of got on one shoulder and looked down. And I was like, oh, thank God, the motorcycle's laying on my legs. That's why I can't move. So I kicked my way out from underneath that and crawled up to the street and called my bandmates to come pick me up and get my bike out of the ditch. And they took me home that night, and I couldn't hardly do nothing the next day. It was bad. Not as fast, but I did take a brand new 10-speed right through the plate glass window of a Moten's shoe repair, Main Street in Kansas City, circa 1981. Ouch. Damn, just heard about not being able to move. I'd have freaked out big time. I know, it scared me. I thought I was paralyzed, but turns out the motorcycle was just laying on me, so it's all good. Walter Davis, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Having dinner with my mama. Watch you later. I hear you, brother. Well, you take care of your mama and tell her we said hello. That's all right with me. Fab Daddy says, cool, Walter. Always good to have a mama. I'd give anything to have mine. Hello, Walter. Much love, says April. Yeah, MVTV, that was definitely a terrifying moment when I thought I couldn't tell if I'd broken my leg because I hit my face right in the dirt. So I was shook up, So everything was buzzing, so I couldn't, just feel that I was okay, I had no idea. I was kind of coming back to my senses a little bit and realized I couldn't move my legs or turn over, and I thought I was paralyzed for about 30 seconds till I realized what was up. That's a terrifying moment. But I laid right there in that bed for a month trying to get back to where I could move again. And I could only move my thumb. All of my fingers didn't work. They wouldn't move. I couldn't bend. I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't pick anything up. All I had was my thumb. But I got through it. My sister would come about every 2 days and make sure I had something to eat. And I got through it. So now when I talk about not going to the doctor, it's because I'm tough as shoe leather. MVTV says, Fab Daddy, I too crashed a 10-speed into a window in 1981. 10 speeds are dangerous. Yeah, with that little thin tire that they got. Are you talking about the one with the handlebars that go down like that and you have to hunch over to ride it? Yeah, those things are dangerous. My business was 7-Eleven. MVTV says, I bet you also recall the classic moment of biking when you see or feel things going wrong. There's a second of trying to recover, and then the big, oh, this is going to hurt. Yes, I do recall that, and that happens. However, at this moment on that motorcycle at that time, I saw the grass, and that's the last thing I remember. I don't remember going over the handlebars of my bike or it landing on me. So I must have hit the ground hard, is all I can say, like a Mike Tyson punch. I didn't have any time to think about recovering. That deer ran out in front of me and I swerved, and that was it. That's all I remember. So, but there are times when you're riding and you know something is going wrong and you can't recover fast enough. And all you can do is think about, oh, shit, here it comes. That does happen. Fab Daddy, damn not a good year for him. Yeah, I remember those 10-speeds with the curly handlebars and the real thin tires. And you could pick them up like that. I always wanted one of those, and I never did get one. But I had some kind of poor excuse for a Huffy. All the kids in the neighborhood had BMX bikes when I was growing up, and I didn't. I had a Huffy, which turned out to be a cool bike, but it wasn't at the time. Or at least I didn't know it was. MVTV says, I just had bought one with extended frame to fit me. Shorts, t-shirt, and tinnies only. I went to test the front brakes, which grabbed full intensity. Witnesses said I flipped right over, hanging on. The window was vibrating, and everyone looked up to see this kid splattered against the window. So did you go through the window, or did you just hit the window and slide down like a cartoon? Complete with that sound. MVDV says, not plate glass. When things stopped rattling, I was upside down on the front shoe display shelf. Bike on top of me. Glass everywhere. A shoe still revolving, caught on a pedal. Wow. That's quite the vivid picture you paint there, MVDV. I can see that happening. All I can tell you, folks, and I can tell you this from experience, if you're going to traverse the earth on two wheels, you better be tough, because things are going to happen. And when they happen, they're going to hurt. MVTV says, glass fragments everywhere. I recall these passerbys looking down on me like in those movies of a football huddle. One lady repeating, I feel so sorry for you, again and again. Oh. Well, at least she was looking. She could have helped you up, but at least she cared. By the way, I am looking for a vehicle, so if anybody's got one, let me know. I noticed the glass, looked around to see if the limbs were there, how much I was bleeding, knowing the shock was wearing off, and this was bad. Almost done. Tell us all about it, buddy. Ain't gonna hurt my feelings at all. I like the story. I punched a glass one time and went through it, so I understand what can happen when you go through glass. I imagine you probably cut all up. My brakes didn't work. They squeaked faster and faster down the hill. I crossed the intersection without getting hit by a car, and though I could hit the 2-inch curve into 7-Eleven, and thought I could hit the 2-inch curve into 7-Eleven, I would imagine not. Them little dinky tires, them little thin tires probably just flip you right over right there. Pop the front tire and the rim. But not one cut. Wow, I swear. The best of it was shaking off glass and shoes, then meekly walking back to this elder black father with 2 sons, still in shock at the encounter, or at the counter. Bent the rim. Gotcha. Ouch. Then sailed over the bars, Fab Daddy. Question mark. I only had one bad wreck on a bicycle, and that was in Salisbury, South Carolina. We were on a big muddy river down there. We lived in a trailer up on top of a big hill, and then down at the bottom of the hill was this big muddy river. And I mean, you go swimming and you come out of that river, you'll be orange. You know, it was that kind of muddy river. But there was a road going down to it, and the road was about that steep. About like that. It's like you could get on that hill and you'd have to slide down it, you know, in a car. You could hit your brakes and just, it was a gravel road, so you could just slide down to the bottom. And I was on a banana seat bicycle. I was about maybe 12, 13 years old, something like that. No shirt, no shoes, shorts, middle of summer. And I went over the end of that damn thing, went down that hill, and I lost control, and I tumbled all the way down that gravel road. And I looked like I had ran through a briar patch or something. I had cuts all over my body, scrapes, you know. It was rough, but that's the only bicycle wreck I've ever been in. Fab Daddy says, I got off my brother's bike and went inside and ordered a big gulp. Ha-ha. Fab Daddy says, nope, MVTV, me and the bike met the window. Ouch. MVTV says, best accident was my brother Mike trying to show off by releasing the ski boat line as it roared past the launch ramp, thinking to come to a stop and step off like he saw professionals on TV. Oh, yeah. That probably didn't work out well. Kind of scary. Those are the only 2 wrecks I've ever been in that I can think of. One on a bicycle and one on a motorcycle. But I've always said it's not if, it's when. If you ride a motorcycle, not if you're going to wreck, it's when. You're going to drop that bike at some point. Hopefully you won't be moving when you do it. But likely you will be. The percentage is not 0 that you may never walk off of that thing when you get on it. MVDV says, I was standing right beside it. Crumbled asphalt ramp. He hit the ground still at a good speed. Skis instantly stopped and he popped out and was like a cartoon with the whirly legs. Almost made it. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen that. Have you ever busted your ass in front of everybody? That's a thing. That's a thing you don't get over lightly. When I was in college, I took my girlfriend at the time bowling. She loved bowling, so I took her bowling. But I don't bowl. I'm not a bowler. I don't enjoy the idea of rolling balls around. But she liked bowling and pool and that sort of thing, so I took her bowling. Well, she convinced me to bowl with her. And I had on the little shoes, and I had the ball, and she showed me how to do the thing, and I acted like I already knew how, you know. And so I lined up the ball, and I ran up to it, and did my little leg behind my other little leg, and threw the ball, and I stepped over that line about that far. and the wax caught the bottom of my foot, and I went sliding out from under me like that, and then hit flat on my back right in front of God and everybody and my brand new girlfriend. Try playing that off cool. MVTV says, sorry, but damn, that was funny. He beat the crap out of me and still couldn't stop laughing. I added laughing, but I'm assuming that's what you meant. Those lanes are slick. Yes, they are. I did not know that. Now I know. And I also know you don't step over that line. That's why people slide up to that line. They don't go past it. I went past it. And it was humiliating. But I couldn't do anything but laugh about it because it was funny. That's when you learn your character then, because some people will get mad. Some people will leave the room instantly out of shame or guilt or fear. All those emotions are there. You just have to deal with it the only way you can. The best medicine is to laugh about it, but most people don't respond that way, or some people don't. But yeah, when you bust your butt in front of your brand new girlfriend on your first date, it's something. And me and Fallen, we don't get along too good. In high school, I was tough, number 4, in the big serious play called David and Lisa. Me and number 1 through 3 were playing thugs, threatening Lisa, who ran away due to drama at the climax of the play. My one line is, yeah, let's get her. That seems like a problematic school play. What are you going to do when you catch her? I once got told I was crazy by doing exactly what a psychiatrist told me to do. Not enough information? Let me explain. I was a show-off in school. I was bored to tears. They weren't teaching me anything I didn't already know, and I hated it. So I showed my butt. This is what most people in my particular demographic do. Anyway, they sent me to the school psychiatrist, and that person referred me to an actual psychiatrist outside. So I went at the behest of my mom, who just wanted her son to behave in school. And the guy gave me a piece of paper and a pen, and he said, draw something. And I said, draw what? He goes, I don't know. Do you like skeletons? I was like, yeah. It's metal, whatever. I was into that back then. He said, draw me a skeleton. I said, okay. So I drew a skeleton. He says, now, draw a little girl. And I said, okay. So I drew a little girl. He says, now, draw what you think is happening there. And I thought for a minute. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. Okay. So I drew a skeleton raping a little girl. Now, let me ask you a question. If you have a skeleton and a little girl in the same room, what do you think is happening? Anybody? Is it just me? So he said I was crazy. Anyway, I digress. Flawlessly performed by the senior class cast after weeks of practice. David grabs Lisa's hands. They stand, meet eyes on a dark stage with one light on them. Dun, dun, dun. And the crowd goes wild. Stop doing theater. Too much drama, says Fab Daddy. You think? And as I run backstage, I take a sharp turn, hold up my hand to brace me, and slide along the entire light control panel, which lit up every light in the house, ruining everything. Packed house, too. Ouch. Anyway, it's a strange world we live in, is what I'm saying. We live in a place you couldn't make up. Honestly true, Fab Daddy. I thought it was pretty hilarious, but they were so serious. Yes, drama people are very, very, very in love with themselves. Very serious. Serious as a snake bite. And so dramatic. I never did get into drama. I don't think I've ever done a play in my life. Not even one of those kindergarten ones where you play a tree, you know? None of that. I don't think I ever went to a school dance. I think I went to one, but I stayed out in the parking lot the whole time because I didn't like what was going on inside. I was in the 5th grade when that happened. And I had a buddy with me, so I'd rather hang out with him anyway. What about you, Fab Daddy? You ever been in a play? April? Kevin? I could see Kevin in a play. I was sorry. That was when I began to suspect some stuff happens you can't explain, so better be humble and good. I've been in over 50 plays. Wow. You're one of those dramatic people, aren't you? Next, you're going to tell me you wear a scarf and one of those little floppy hats. Yeah, Fab Daddy. MVTV. It's always good to be humble and good, if you can be. If you can't be humble and good, be arrogant and take charge. Yes, April says, I was Grace Farrell and Annie. I'm surprised you weren't Annie. Fab Daddy says, I was asked to act this year, but I said no thanks. Kevin says, I was in Fiddler on the Roof. I was the backup for Tavilla and once had to do the lead. I sang beautifully according to my parents, LOL. Hans is dead, Hans is dead, Hans is dead. The Fisherman's Wife. No skill for real plays, but salute Fab Daddy. That's right. A Fiddler on the Roof. Who's of the day and night? He fiddles when it rains and he fiddles when it snows. What can you do about the roller roof who fills every day and fills every night? That doesn't rhyme at all. I was in the 6th grade. D.D. Loham got that part. I hear you. Must be fresh in your memory. I can't even remember the names of the people I went to grade school with. I remember a couple of faces, but that's it. I have since deleted that information to make room for more important things. MVTV says, I can't remember the lines, but have done many, many years of Saturday Night Live in Helena. A very popular variety show. We even had Dave Letterman and Tom Brokaw do video intros. Really? Wow. That's fantastic, MVTV. Fab Daddy says, I do wear a scarf in the winter, Jake, and a ball cap. Well, a ball cap's not that little floppy hat that I'm talking about. You know the one, the little French hat. You know, when you put it on, you go, I don't care, and you smoke a cigarette and eat a baguette. I don't care, you silly American. Kevin says, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find and catch me a catch. Matchmaker, if you could, make me a perfect match. Still doesn't rhyme. But good try there. Iambic pentameter needs an equal number of lines and 12-syllable couplets. I don't know anything about playwriting, though. But I earned my beret in the Army. Is that what they call that little floppy hat, a beret? That one's acceptable. If it's an Army beret, you can wear that one. But you can't wear it in public. April says, I loved that year I was 12. La 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 dum dum. He's not dumb. I don't know if I can even read that. I can't make out what it says. If I were a rich man, yeah, idle, dial diddy diddy diddy, dial down, all day long as he's sitting in the sun. If I weren't itty bitty rich man. You and I need to have a conversation about rhyming. I will follow up with videos and send them to you. By the way, did you get the last one? No, I got a text that said, here's the video, and then nothing. And then I responded, I didn't get the video yet, and still nothing. I think you got drunk at that point. You must have forgot to press send. But if you'll send it, I'll play it. Awesome, Fab Daddy, says April. It was political, too, says MVTV, in the capital city, so the governors and the legislators attended, and we mostly roasted them. They refused 99% of my skit ideas. Spoil sports. Well, that's the way Saturday Night Live works. Only the top writers get to call the shots. Aha, yep. Fab Daddy says, I did when I had my uniform on. Airborne all the way. I was stationed in Fort Bragg. Now called Fort Liberty. Really? That's terrible. What happened to Fort Bragg? April says, thanks, Jake. You're welcome. What are you thanking me for? Raspberry berry, baby. Is that a Captain Crunch flavor? My nose is itching. I wonder if anybody's going to shove $1 in my nose. MVDV says, though they allowed my Pope Olympics during the frail one's time, blasted the Olympics fanfare while 5 popes crashed, fell, or tried to climb over various gym equipment. Wow. Pope Olympics. I like it. They just renamed it. Fort Bragg was named after General Bragg, and Confederacy is frowned upon. By whom? It's not frowned upon by me. And I did understand that that's why they changed the name of it. I just don't know why they have to do things like that. It's part of history. April, please send the video. It is my masterful song, Fart. Well, if you'll send the video, I will play it because you're obviously very proud of it, and I'd like to hear it. Also, if you have any more embarrassing things. Send it on. I, of course, have no problem making a jackass of myself for your entertainment. That's what I'm here for. Raspberry Beret. That's not what the first one said. But I got you. I was the top writer. They just refused to accept it. They did some really stupid things, too, by the way. I've decided not to beat around the bushes too much and just say it. Just say it. Fab Daddy says, we have a city in California called Fort Bragg. Beautiful coastal town where they filmed Overboard. Really? Cool. Kevin says, you know, by the guy named Prince. Yes, Raspberry Beret. Well, that's a movie, right? Or a song. I can't remember which. He did so many of the same things. When Purple Doves Cry or something like that. Raining and, I don't know. When it's raining purple doves in a raspberry field. Purple doves wearing berets. I don't know. I don't know anything about Prince. But I do know about the movie Overboard, and that was a great movie. I liked it. Of course, it probably don't hold up. By the way, Fab Daddy, if you look at any of my ancient material, you may come across some stars and bars occasionally because I am from Georgia. So don't read into that. Little Nicky is my favorite Prince song, says Fab Daddy. MVDV says, for instance, they thought it was funny to have me fill in with a beard and a mustache for an all-female quartet. Oh, balloon boobs. Duh. I filled them with helium and a later escape of one. Interesting. Right on, Fab Daddy. April does that too, by the way. She's as flat chested as a 10-year-old boy. What? We got ourselves a sports update from the old Kevin Cox. Mr. Peacock himself says the Miami Heat are playing the Denver Nuggets for the basketball championship. Not at a game each. Game 3 tonight. Miami 42 and the Nuggets 4. Go Heat! Burn, baby, burn. Back to you, Bob. MVDV says, brought the house down. It cooperated perfectly, too. Pausing on the way up for a missed grab while people howled. By the way, they have an open bar in that theater. Go figure. I've only played music in theaters. I've never been in one while I was on stage that I wasn't playing a guitar. But you'll have that. I thought about it. I'm a pretty good actor. But just never had the opportunity. Or the drive to do so. When I was in the Masonic Lodge, I did a few things actor-wise that came off quite well. But that was more of a play of necessity, not for viewers. Oh, shit, you learned something new about old Jake you didn't know. Now you know. There's a reason I'm well-versed in the mystical arts. Would you look at the time? Won't you guys do me a favor while we're sitting here talking? Hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's right in front of you. It's effortless, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. So won't you do that, please? Share this video with people you love. Better yet, share it with people you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below and let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid, make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critical, that's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you love what I'm doing and you can see the value in what I'm trying to create and you'd like to help out, or if you'd just like to pat me on the back and say, hey, nice job, Jake, you can do that. You can support my work by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a CashApp user, $ Jake Johnson Band. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win, and it's a blessing for me. It's a blessing for you, too, because God notices these things. Now, I will quit running my mouth and answer all of your questions and comments. Just like that. MVTV says, Myrna Loy Theater, very nice. In old territorial jail in Helena. I'm still going to say Helena, because I got the Greek word in my head, Helena. I know it's Helena, but I can't say Helena without thinking about it. Like the lady's name, but I pronounced it wrong, and I pronounced it wrong too until arrival. Yeah, if it's a thing you don't say every day, it's kind of hard to switch. April says, I love you all. I'm about to be driving home. Okay, Jake? Okay, I understand. I see how you want to be. I didn't want to hang out with you anyway. I love you. You know I do. Be careful out there. I'll be right here, making content to my heart's desire. Do you have smoky skies, Jake? I haven't noticed it, but I've heard about it, and I think the air might be a little thicker. I've been a little hard of breath today, a little out of breath, so it may be in, poor air quality. But I haven't seen any smokiness. Except this morning when I drove by a field being burned off. But that was obvious. It wasn't coming from Canada. Canada is polluting. Yeah. Canada is doing a lot of things they shouldn't ought to be doing, if you know what I'm saying. Somebody needs to slap that prime minister right in his pretty little face a couple of times. I don't care if you're Fidel Castro's child. Wake up, Canada. Jesus. The hell's wrong with you up there? Make you want to just shake them. EPA needs to find them. Yeah. Maybe we can get some, Oriental satellites to fly over them. 72 sweet corn so far, says MBTV. 50 more going in tomorrow. Doing it all by hand, so slow as the original homesteaders. By the way, I learned this place was built in 1883. Stunning. Yes, it is. April says, I love you true, and I love you true, too. Don't ever doubt it. I do. And I mean it. However, if you had a podcast, I wouldn't be driving all the time. I'm just saying. I'm teasing. Don't get mad. I'm just playing with you. It's kind of hard to play with somebody you can't see, but, Back at you, April, says MVTV. I need some new glasses. These are getting hard to see through. Or either that or I'm going blind, one or the other. Boy, ha, 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 ha. Guilt works, Jake. Sometimes. Not with her, though. She's a redhead. She'll stab you. Trust me, I know. The only reason we get along is because I'm a redhead, too. I'm just in disguise. Haven't moved my vehicle in a week, says MVTV. I like not having anywhere to go, but suddenly that makes me sad. Nah. I hear you. I don't usually go anywhere either. Right now, my vehicle is down, and I have to have my boss come pick me up. I had a blowout the other day, and I was able to make it home, which is unbelievable, because if you've ever had a flat tire on a motorcycle, you know you got about 3 seconds to stop before the back end comes out from under you, because it goes flat in your rim on the ground. For whatever reason, it didn't go entirely flat, though it had a rip all the way around the outside of the tire like it does when you blow out. You can see the inner tube touching the pavement, But somehow it held up enough for me to get it home. So that was wonderful. Otherwise, I would have had to find somebody with a trailer and a truck, and it'd have been a whole big deal. So, good thing for that. I'm very lucky, yes. Very blessed is what it was. I was being looked out for. Because there ain't no way it should have made it home. And I drove 25 miles to get home on that flat tire at 20 miles, 30 miles an hour. Truly a miracle. Another early crop, says MVTV. Test plant began early. Has matured with very, very, very happy results. Let's just say that dispensaries are dispensable if you can green thumb it enough, and that's tough. Yes, it is. I've tried to grow dispensary type objects before, and there's things about them that I did not know, like they can change sex. And if they change sex, you can't dispense them. You know what I mean? Fab Daddy says, good luck with your crop, MVTV. Yes, that would be lovely. So, lesson learned. Don't plant your crops too close together, or one might squirt on the other one, and then it's rainbow flags everywhere. Anybody know what I'm talking about? MVTV says, thanks, Fab Daddy. A thunderstorm came through, and a bit of hail got me a bit anxious. Only a bit. No damage, but a taste of what real farmers must deal with. Oh, yeah. I believe I mentioned this before, but I've seen farmers just mow down entire crops of corn because they got too hot or it didn't rain enough, or they just have to get rid of it. They just mow it down and start over. Entire fields of corn just gone just because of a hot day. Stoner beer, much like Cocaine Bear. Stoner deer lives near me. Really? I'm going to do a new show called Methed Up Gator. What do you think about that? This week on Methed Up Gator. Yeah, it's going to be good. MVTV says, yes, I have tried growing sativa so much. Always wondering WTF? Never sure what's going on. That's exactly what happened to me. It just didn't work. I mean, they grew and then they just stopped growing. And they never produced anything. So, whatever. Yep, ate my crop to the noobs. I would like to see a stoner deer, though. That'd be funny. Have you ever seen a deer eat a bird? I have. It's weird. I didn't know deer were carnivores, but they are. I seen one straight gank up a bird. It got too close, and the deer ate it. And I've also seen a kitten about that big eat a rabbit about that big. I saw that day before yesterday, and it was impressive. And you know those cartoons where somebody will eat another somebody, and then they're sitting there with a big fat belly because they ate a whole person? That's what that cat looked like when it was done eating that rabbit. It ate the whole rabbit, bones and all. I don't know how it did it. MPTV says, speaking of, finished off Breaking Bad and thought the ending was pretty well done. Now to see El Camino, a movie about Jesse. Yes, that's a good movie too. But were you... I was disappointed in the ending. What about you? Death to commies, says Sonny Bus. Well, Sonny Bus, there are no commies here, so your death is falling on illiterate deaf ears. Sonny Bus, did you come here to hang out, or did you come here to troll? Be honest. This week on Meth Up Gator sounds tweaky. It's going to be. I think the premise of the show is going to be showing clips from people from Florida. I think that's what it's going to be, because there's some crazy people in Florida. And I think it's going to be the theme of the it's going to be like a shorts clip kind of thing. That rabbit swallowing still haunts me. Does it? And coming from someone who sees plenty of cottontail carnage, was not disappointed with the ending. I found it to be a little short. I thought something else should have happened other than what happened. But that's just me. But it's a great series, probably one of the best written series on television. El Camino is not as well written, but is a good movie. The movie spun was very real, says Vab Daddy. Sonny Bus says, maybe a little bit of trolling. My point still stands. I hear you, brother. Or sister. I don't know which. Doesn't matter. Anyway, there are no commies here. This is you see that flag behind me? Channel. And everyone here, whether left or right, are patriots. Good people. God-fearing people. So, and death has an A in it. But you are welcome here, as long as you contribute. And you can troll a little if you want to. We're okay with that. Just don't get nasty. And by the way, I concur with Death to Commies. MVDV says, also, Strange New Worlds. Yes, on the 15th. I can't wait. I'm excited. I mean, I will be talking about that for sure. First season is now free on Amazon, so I binged it and also impressed. But want the best Trek when they're always in deep space, actually, on Strange New Worlds. I took the A out because YouTube censorship. I got you. I figured it was something like that. But I think, I'm not sure about this, so don't hold me to it, but I think they only pay attention for the first 30 seconds of a video, and then they kind of trail off, and they're not as sensitive about things after that. Don't hold me to that. I ain't sure about that, but I kind of think that's the way it is. I've never been flagged for anything that happened in the end of my video, only things that happened in the beginning. Fab Daddy says, I will check it out, MVTV. Yes, Strange New Worlds is a good effort. The first good effort from the people who are now running Star Trek. It took 5 shows of pure garbage to get to Strange New Worlds. And a little bit of no, I won't do it. Okay, fine, we'll do it. A little bit of that. But we got it, and it's fairly decent. It's a little weird, but it's fairly decent. It's watchable. It's good entertainment. And also, Season 3 of Picard is good. 1 and 2, don't waste your time. But Season 3 is actually worth watching. Somebody got a memo, is all I can say. Somebody got a memo from up top saying, hey, you better fix this shit right now. I'm getting kind of tired of losing fans. This franchise has existed for 50 years, and in 1 year, you've ruined it. Fix it. So, I'm excited to see what they do next, and I'm kind of hoping for Star Trek Legacy, which will be based on Season 3 of Picard. Don't know that that's going to happen yet, but it may. Right now, there's a writer's strike going on in Hollywood, and nothing is happening, so I don't know. I know, Fab Daddy, the first 2 seasons are garbage, but the 3rd season that a new showrunner comes in, Terry Matalas, and he actually makes Star Trek, and it's actually good. So if you like Star Trek, give Season 3 a try. I think you'll like it. Discovery was an insult. You're absolutely right. I couldn't have said that better myself. The whole of Discovery, including the season that's yet to be released, is an insult to intelligence. It's an insult to Star Trek fans. It's an insult to sci-fi in general. And they steal other people's work. So, freaking adolescent Starfleet children crying and whining and defying orders, feelings this and feelings that, and way too much gay crap. I agree with you, MVTV. The first episode of that was free and looked good, but no more subscription service. Need 5 to see half of the new movies. Yeah, you're right. I understand. That's why I download all of my content legally challenged. Anyway, the first episode of Star Trek Discovery was fair. It wasn't good, but it was fair. It was enough to make you want to watch the next episode, which turned out to be a completely different thing than the first episode. I think it might have been the first 2 episodes was a completely different thing than the rest of the season. It was really weird how they did that. It's like they made the pilot, which was 2 episodes long, I think. And then they just went hog wild with whatever garbage they were putting out that had nothing to do with the first 2 episodes. And in the first episode, the main character commits treason, or whatever you call it on a ship, mutiny, and we're supposed to root for that person. No, that's not how Starfleet works. There's a captain for a reason. I don't know. It's like the people that wrote that show, number 1, has never watched Star Trek. Number 2, don't know anything about militaristic hierarchy. And number 3, don't know anything about sci-fi. It's like a bunch of people got hired from the CW and they wrote a Star Trek show. And they just, like, looked up a Wikipedia of Star Trek phrases and they just used names and stuff. But it don't mean anything. They got everything wrong. It was insulting. You're right. I agree with you on that. And it almost turned me off completely. Thank God Strange New Worlds came out and gave me something to watch, or else I'd be just done with Star Trek, unless somebody else runs it. The movies weren't that great either. The first one was. I enjoyed that. I thought they cast it well. But upon further reflection, looking back on it, it's missing a lot of stuff that would make it Star Trek. It's really just Star Wars with an Enterprise, you know. But go figure. I don't think we can get the old days back. I think it's a new world, new people writing, and they don't have any literary background to base their shows on. So they're going to all be like that. I grew up with the original series. The opening Klingon battlecruiser scene in the first movie almost short-circuited my mind. So awesome. Discovery's visuals were stunning, but it got too dumb. Yeah, they lost me with sonar in space and a myriad of other things that they did that were equally as dumb. Like when the ship is under attack and flames, like actual flames from a flamethrower are shooting out on the bridge. Like, where are those flames coming from? Do you have gas pipes surrounding the bridge? Is this not a bad design? What is going on here? Does MVTV have an email? Yes, he does. You'd have to ask him for it because I don't have the liberty to give it out. But if he wants you to have it, so be it. Do you have an email? MVTV says, what's sad is that there should have been uncounted new series, shows, and things that Star Trek would be old news, but zero modern imagination for new things. I agree. And they've got so much to work with, and they ignore all of it. There's like 1,000 Star Trek books that are canon. There's the whole original series, Star Trek The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise. There's all of the movies, and they all have lots of characters and storylines that were never completed or came in and went out, like, you know, the Khan thing. And they don't write any of it. There's so many ways you could take it, and it would be perfect. Yet they continue to come up with garbage to cram into the canon that don't fit. Makes no sense. I want to send him help with the movies. MBDV says, no worry. My email is noted on my channel, hauntedmarysville@gmail.com. There it is, Fab Daddy. Send me that too, by the way. You might know something I don't know. My email is right here. Okay, I will help you, MVTV, says Fab Daddy. But it's a secret. MVTV says, I mean, something completely different than 90% of it, all old stuff. New variations or not. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like they got the basic idea and they just keep rewriting that. They don't go into any of the storylines from the past. Wouldn't you like to know what happened to that, what was it? I forget what the episode was. You know, where the flying vacuum cleaner came in and wiped Uhura's mind. Remember that show? That episode? Wouldn't you like to know what happened to that thing? They let it go, remember? It's a world killer. It can wipe people's memory and bring dead people back to life. It was called Nomad, but I can't remember the name of the show. I'd like to see a series about that thing. What about the Methuselah character with the robot daughter when they found a guy that lived thousands of years? Where's he at now? What's he doing? What about Harry Mudd? What about Mudd's girls? There's a lot of stories you could go on. What happened when Scotty beamed all of the tribbles over to a Klingon ship? That didn't go well. Tell us that story. Help me with what? I need a lot. With a lot of things, says MBTV. I think he's going to send you away to get movies for less. A lot less. They destroyed Nomad. They destroyed one Nomad. There were two. They confused it, and it began to murmur, non sequitur, does not compute. And again, beginning to overload, so they beamed it out and scattered the atoms. Yeah. Oh, okay, understood, Fab Daddy. And likewise, send that to me, too, because you might know one I don't know. The one that I've been using recently got shut down, so I'm kind of looking for a new one. Two nomads? I must disagree. You must be referring to something else that's possible. That looked like that prop. It's possible. It's been years since I've seen the show. I may have it confused with something else. Fab Daddy says, working on it. But anyway, my point remains the same. There's many stories to tell. What about the big machine that they had to destroy with Commander Decker and the Doomsday Machine? They never figured out who sent that. There's a story you could tell. And it has, universe ending implications if everything's got to be universe ending. Who made that thing? Nobody knows. That's a good story they could tell. How did T'Pau become the supreme leader of Vulcan? We see her. We recognize that she's in control, but we don't know how she got there. They touched on it one time in the show Enterprise, but that's it. Also, what about entirely new stuff? Not talking variations on old stuff. I refuse to believe creativity is dead. Well, there ain't a lot of evidence to support your thesis. I haven't seen anything new in a very long time. Not since the late 90s have I seen anything actually new. A lot of retreading going on in Hollywood right now. I think that's how they're taught to think. I think they don't know how to write new stuff. Walter Davis says, good evening, everybody. 1 minute to spare. You were right on time, Walter. How are you doing, sir? But about No Bad, I don't disagree with you, MVTV. It is possible that I'm confusing that with something else. I'll go back and rewatch that episode and see what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, the point remains the same. There's a lot of story they could do with canon that they just don't even touch. Instead, they tell the same tired old stories over and over and over again. On Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, they redid A Balance of Terror. They redid Amok Time in the same season. Right? Why do that? MVTV says, I don't mind too much if done well, as it's stuff I love and grew up with. But by now, I'd think there'd be so much new stuff. I wish there was. But keep in mind, when we were kids, we thought by now we'd have flying cars. And instead, we're arguing over gender. I just don't know what to say about that. Walter says, hi, Jake, Montana, Fab, Sonny, April, Kevin. Slow day today. Lots of Canadian smoke here. I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's out there. I just didn't notice it. It was kind of overcast today, so it may have been up there and I just didn't see it. Yep, same thing, says MVTV. Where's the anti-gravity belts, right? What the heck? I thought we were living in the future and all we can offer up is a smaller phone? Really? April says, you have a great night. Also, Walter, love. Great night, April. I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. That smoke nailed me really bad a couple of weeks ago, but the wind's adjusted, says MVTV. From what I understand, there's like a wild forest fire going on up there or something. If it was a winter once, do it over and over. People have no short-term memory and won't notice. Well, they notice. Believe me, there are like 200 channels that I follow that are bitching about it as we speak. I don't know why they don't just hire Robert Meyer Burnett to rewrite Star Trek for them. He would be a perfect showrunner. MVTV says, I recall as a kid in the early 70s looking back at the new inventions of the last 50 years, so just logically assumed the trend would continue. I know. Imagine being born in the 40s when all that German stuff was coming out and everything seemed possible and there were Zeppelins in the air and Sherman tanks and people were playing with Philadelphia experiments and such. Imagine thinking about the future from that perspective, and plus there would have been flappers around, and that would have been awesome. And if you don't know what a flapper is, do some research. Do yourself a favor and wash your hands. You might need it. My daddy was born in 48. Yep. And I bet you this future ain't the one he pictured. I bet you money on it. I bet you he thought that by the year 2023, he'd be living on a starship. Bet you that's what he thought. Or on the moon, or Mars, or an asteroid somewhere. I bet you he would have never guessed that the richest man in the world would be throwing rockets at the sky still, 50 years after they did that already. Walter says, my grandparents were born before airplanes. Yes. April says, not at all. I imagined we'd be flying cars in space. And we should be. But then Bill Gates was born, and he ruined everything. Him and his buddy, Steve Jobs. And that, my friends, is why in another 100 years we're going to be living like the Flintstones. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. Hard drives are biodegradable. That means in 100 years, we will not have any knowledge of what we've learned thus far because it's all stored on hard drives and floppy disks. Just imagine in a world where time stands still and the only semblance of history is a hard drive, you are fucked. MBDV says, the few times I was able to ask my dad, who's 87, or other elders of the world today, it's remarkably low-key. More likely they gave up attempting to bother. April says, my grandparents were too. They are all awaiting in heaven. Aw. Yeah, all my parents and grandparents are awaiting in heaven. I sent you and MVTV an email. Thank you, Fab Daddy. Appreciate that. MVTV says, hey, Fab Daddy. I appreciate it. We will review later. this evening. Now, when I was a kid, I thought there was a distinct possibility of one of two things. Either we would be living on starships and exploring the outer galaxy, or the world would be taken over by vampires. One of the two was absolutely going to happen. And neither one did, and I'm very disappointed. Back to the Future and then Going into the Future with Biff was way off for today's generations. Not true. You go back and watch that second Back to the Future, and they predict Trump presidency. And flat screens. And 3D. And virtual reality. That movie is spot on. And they predict all the Jaws remakes and sequels. By the way, I yammer enough that anyone who cares to email me or give address, I'll send a digital copy of Haunted Marysville in full layout, dozens of photos. Ooh, now that, my friends, is an offer you can't refuse. It's a great book. He wrote it, and it's fabulous. You should check it out and take him up on that offer. He is a very skilled writer, by the way, and he's low-key famous. I recall doubting if I would be alive to see the year 2000, or if it mattered, because, dear God, I would be 40 years old. I remember some such thought. And so did The Simpsons. Yeah, they predicted a lot, too. It's quite interesting. All right, folks, we made it to the top of the hour, and I've got to go to work in the morning. So I love you all from the bottom of my heart. I love you true. I do. It's me and you. Don't forget that. And I will see you on Rumble on Friday. So come by Rumble at 8:30 and hang out with me and help me figure that chat thing out. And have a great night. Take care of yourselves and each other. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. April says, oh, true. But for 2000, it's 23 years later. What's wrong? Why is everything wrong? Right and everything right. Huh? Is wrong. Oh, why is everything wrong right and everything right wrong? Why, I already know. Well, we live in the upside down, that's why. And you're now seeing the reverse of the dichotomy. You're seeing the black of the yin-yang. We are in the swing of the pendulum. It has not yet come back to center. While it's wildly swinging towards the left, we may see a reoccurrence of Jesus Christ. It's coming to a city near you. Oh, yeah, thanks for your patience again, Jake and Chat. No patience necessary, MVTV. We love having you. Bit on a roll this evening. Carry on. Stay safe and see you next time. Thank you. Walter says, Montana, I woke up. I'm in a morgue and wondered about 2002. You woke up in a morgue? Or you are a morgue? I woke up, I'm a morgue, and wondered about 2002. Good night, all. God bless. MVTV says, why are there so many serial killers and no serial givers away of large amounts of cash? Cashiers? Cashes? Cashiers? I don't know. That would be weird if serial cashiers were a thing. What are you doing? I'm ringing you up. I didn't buy anything. I'm a serial cashier. Carry on. Yes, that's wrong, LOL, right? I hear you, Walter says MBTV. Walter Davis says, I'm thinking the Mayan calendar is real, but it doesn't happen as fast as advertised. Well, the Mayan calendar is absolutely real, and it also absolutely is a calendar. And calendars count. And they start over at some point. It's not a mystical object. It doesn't do anything. It just counts. We are in the Mayan Bak 2, which is the second age that ended in the year 2002, which is a little bit off because our calendar's a little bit off. And so there you go. Yeah, I did after a car wreck. Oh, you actually woke up in a morgue. Oh, wow. That's terrifying. I hope that never happens again. Which would be ironic if it did. But I hope it doesn't. Imagine people jumping out of the bushes, but instead of robbing you, they hand over some cash, free donuts, or the like. Why all the negative? I agree. April, better stop so Jake can get to bed. Only 12 hours. Holy. I need more of that story when able. Walter? Yeah, right? That's kind of strange. I'll wait a little while for you to put that one out. Oh, my God, Walter. Much love. Be grateful he didn't start the autopsy already. That would suck. Oh, you're awake? I'm sorry. Is that your finger? What? Tragic. Be more like terrifying, waking up in a morgue. First sense you have is how cold the thing you're laying on is. And why am I naked? And who put me in this bag? And I can't feel my big toe for some reason. Who was the evangelist on the radio that predicted the end? Oh, that's happened 1,000 times. I don't know. And didn't happen. That was the start of everything we are dealing with today. He was right, but not on the right schedule. Well, the end has been occurring since 1948. The problem is people read the Bible and they assume that it's all going to happen at one time. They don't stop to think about how reality works. It's all happened, and it's all happening. And what hasn't happened yet will happen. But it takes a while. MVDV says, that's like I went to the mailbox and Donald Trump was sitting next to it. Weird story, but gotta go. By the way, the secret I shared has Strange New Worlds entire season. Cool. I already have it, but cool. Unless it's season 2, and that would be excellent. But there, I'm sure there's many, many other things. All right, I really do have to go to bed. I love you guys. Come see me at rumble.com/UntetheredLive. Friday night at 8:30. I'll be there. You be there or be slightly rectangular. Have a great night. I love you. Thank you for being here and making the chat so interesting. Thank you for keeping the conversation popping. Have a great night, and thanks for watching.